So, Marvel have finally released the new Black Widow movie in cinemas and on Disney Plus. While watching it, there was a phrase that kept coming up. There's red in my ledger, or your ledger was dripping with red. It took a second for my rather slow brain to work out what they were talking about. It calls back to a scene in the original Avengers movie when Natasha is talking with Loki. They discuss Clint, who Loki has captive. Natasha feels she owes Clint, that she owes a debt and she wants to wipe out the debt by saving him.
Is this love, Agent Romanoff?
Love is for children. I owe him a debt.
In the new film, though, they use the concept in a subtly different way. They use it to refer to the evils that they have committed. In one scene, the Red Guardian glories in this evil, and we, the audience, join Natasha in disgust, feeling the guilt for the things done in the past.
You both have killed so many people. Your ledgers must be dripping, just gushing red. I couldn't be more proud of you.
I find these subtle distinctions interesting concepts to explore. First, the idea of debt. Clint Barton, whose superhero identity is Hawkeye, was sent to kill Natasha, but chose not to. He showed her mercy. The film does not tell us why he made that choice. Natasha admits that she had done things deserving of death. She admits that she had no justification for the evil she had done. So it is with us. We have to, if we're being honest with ourselves, admit that we have done things which are wrong. We have to admit that we have failed a standard. But whose standard? Society's? But society's standards change. So why feel guilty? As what is wrong now might be right later. So we're just acting in the wrong time, not in the wrong way. How about our own? If that's true, why should we feel guilty? We could justify to ourselves why we did an evil act. We see this in Black Widow. She's trying to kill an evil man using an explosive device. His daughter is in the room with him. Despite the presence of a young girl, Black Widow sets off the explosion. She claimed the girl was collateral damage. Black Widow claimed the girl's life was a price worth paying to kill an evil man. She had justified her actions to herself. So why did it haunt her so badly? Because there is a standard that, try as we might, we can't escape. Our conscience reminds us of it. We might deny it, but God has set a standard of behaviour for humanity. A standard we've all failed to keep. You and I may have failed to keep the standard in different ways, just as Black Widow and her enemy Dreykov were evil in different ways, and to different extents. Some might say that Natasha must be good because she was not as bad as Dreykov. But that's bad logic. The extent to which others are evil is not the same as a measure of how good you are. We will talk more about that in another video. Natasha has committed evil acts. She tries to justify herself in the eyes of others. But she did not have peace that way. Her conscience gnawed at her. She had to admit that she did have red in her ledger. In the conversation between Loki and Natasha, when she says,
It's really not that complicated. I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
his reply is,
Can you? Can you wipe out that much red?
Natasha admits that she has red in her ledger and assumes that it can be wiped out or negated by doing good. Loki's response is telling. He suggests in his response that the greater the evil, the greater the good must be in order to wipe it out. This is a common mindset, the idea that our good must outweigh our evil to be classified as a good person. The Bible is very clear, however, that this is not the way it works. Isaiah 64:6 says, "But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousnesses are as filthy rags." When God looks at all the good we try to do, he just sees filthy rags. So if our good deeds are unable to clear out our ledger, how can it be clean? The Bible answers that question in Psalm 51. King David calls to God and said, "Hide your face from my sins. Blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Notice the source of this is not with ourselves, it is with God. It is not us that blots out the evil, it is God. It is not us that makes our heart clean, it is God. What makes a right spirit? Not us, God. King David just asked for it. He admitted he had done wrong. His asking God to solve the problem recognized that he could do nothing himself. King David did not try to bargain with God. He did not say, "Look at the good I have done. Surely that means I'm good enough." He simply turned to God and asked for mercy. Jesus tells a story to illustrate this point. He tells of two men who go to the temple in Jerusalem to pray. One is a Pharisee, who is a religious man. He stands in front of everyone and thanks God for him being such a great guy, that he was not like other men, how he does good things, how he gives to charity. The other man was a tax collector, a traitor to his own people. He cried to God for mercy. Jesus said it was the second man who would go home justified. This is the message of the Bible, that we have all done wrong, that we have read in our ledgers. We cannot blot it out, but God can. And if we ask him, he will. But, and it's a pretty important but, we have to ask. We have to believe that Jesus died for us and that he can save us from the eternal consequences of the red in our ledgers. And we have to ask him to blot it out.
Did I do something wrong?
Is that a serious question?